So what's your story?
I did my master's from University of Hyderabad. And then left to Germany for 10 years for academic research.
So you found your love in insects. You found your purpose.
I never worked on the insects up to that point.
Murali, what's your story?
My master's from Central University of Hyderabad here. I did my PhD postdoc with Kevin O'Connell on the small interfering RNA. So I moved to the industry. I ended up in Therapeutics, which is again in Hyderabad, basically to work on the immunology. When we see the lot of the diseases, could be autoimmune disease, it could be infection, or it could be cancer too. To address the autoimmune thing.
What's the application?
Chronic wound healing proved for the treatment purpose in chronic wounds. Brand is called Regranics.
How do you start an insect tech company?
Yeah, I found the purpose and then the love.
How it all started?
They breed here. Okay. We don't import those animals.
Just make in India.
Exactly. Atmanirbhar.
Atmanirbhar Bharat. Yes. After recording this podcast, I won't be able to see insects the same way. Now I will see them as a machinery, as a technology. And I won't be able to see think about the immune system the same way. So what Murali mentioned is immune system is the most important thing when you think about fixing human body or treating human disease conditions, because these immune systems have to be proactive, sometimes offensive in nature, sometimes defensive in nature. I talk about Praveen, how he leverages insects to treat waste material coming out of food industry. And now he is solving the real problem in the animal feed industry. So instead of leveraging fish as the protein source, he is leveraging insect protein. I brought some samples too. I cannot try. It's not ready for human consumption. If you want to learn more about the insect technology, how it will change the game in the food industry, not just waste treatment, but also the real world application. Same thing if you want to learn more about the biotech drug discovery business, you will get a lot of insights from Murali in this episode. So we are recording this podcast from southern city of India, Hyderabad. It's known for many different things, but both of you are local here. So what it is known for? What Hyderabad is known for? Anything you want to share?
I think it's Mughlai food.
Okay.
That's mostly for Irani chai, biryani, halim, all those things. And of course, industrially, pharma and biotech.
Right.
And film industry is very big.
Mm-hmm.
And Hyderabad has given one of the top blockbusters in last decade.
Right.
So yeah,
they're performing better than Bollywood, no?
Probably on economics basis.
Yeah.
If you
Love it.
Yeah.
Anything you want to share about?
Sure. Hyderabad is also known for a very good biotech ecosystem.
Right.
Because it has all ingredients in place, especially when we talk about the healthcare research is concerned. It's having one of the best healthcare system and hospitals, globally renowned hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from that, to do the research purpose, all globally, laboratory animal suppliers.
Mm-hmm.
And most important thing is that we do have the laboratory real estate here, where people can go and hire the space. It's kind of plug and play systems are available in Hyderabad, to set up a company and to move the things very quickly.
Right. Even the place called Genome Valley, where you guys are located. Exactly. Alexandria Group invested a lot of money in early days. There.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not local here, but after spending 2 days, I know this Karachi bakery is very popular. Hyderabad is known for that for sure.
Of course.
And what else? Charminar,
and it's a pearls.
Yeah.
Pearls, yeah.
Even the coffee shops are really massive here. Last night I was working from a place called the Cafe Nilufar, some Iranian. It was like massive, probably the largest coffee shop I've been to recently.
It's a tea shop, huh?
I had coffee, but
oh, that's a terrible mistake.
Okay.
You should have tea. I mean, Nilufar tea is the best tea.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
We're gonna try it. So let's start
on the way back to the airport. You should try.
Okay. Will they make it like an Iranian way? And like
no, it's not
an
Iranian chai, but it's really special, but it's very good. The best one.
I see.
You should try.
In the West, people say chai tea. Yeah. It's
But
redundant.
your definition of chai will never be the same after you will have Nilofer chai.
Huh.
It's good.
Okay. Next time, I'm sure I
Please.
will come again. But let's start with your story. What do you do? How you all started? Both of you are biotech founders based in Hyderabad. So what's your story?
So I did my master's from University of Hyderabad. I think with the Murali is my senior, like super senior. We only came to know.
Say super.
But then I only came to know that before the show, and then left to Germany for 10 years for academic research. Did my PhD there. Worked in several different projects. Really couldn't find my foot anywhere, firm that I can see myself 10 years later, and then I decided that one fine day, from 2016, I started this hunch of, academics is not for me. And in 18, I finally quit and then came to India. And when I wanted to quit, I really thought of something to work on sustainability. Right. So that was so curiosity has been bedrock of my scientific career throughout, even today. So wherever my curiosity takes, I go. So back then, my curiosity was on the top of the on sustainability, especially that anything that we do now should really we should be proud to tell to our kids, this is what I have done. This is, I know we should leave a better place, that's a better place than we actually came to. So for the kids, actually, for the next generations, I wanted to make a world better place, and that's where I thought, how about sustainability in food chain? And
sustainability in
food chain.
Okay.
Yeah. And then sustainability, in agriculture, for that matter. And that's where agriculture is like, animal husbandry and, plants both. Insects are like, best of both worlds. They can give you solutions, unique solutions in both for food chain, waste management, and even offer solutions in biotech. So that's where the insects really piqued my interest. And when I came back in 2018, I literally took a one-way ticket from Germany. I mean, of course, it's my home.
Dankeschön while leaving Germany.
No, but it was a great time there. It gave me time to reflect. Figure out who I am, and really, the time is a very precious thing in modern days. I got all the time there to reflect. So that was I was really thankful for that, and it was great.
So you found your love in insects. You found your purpose. But
I found the purpose and then the love.
Okay. But how it all started? Like, when did you work on insects?
I never worked on the insects up to that point. So it was in 2011. I was watching a TED talk, and I was doing aquarium, natural aquarium. I was when I do something, I do it like the fullest extent, with deep passion. And I was doing like this aquarium which I didn't clean for 1 year. And I was trying to naturally maintain it by maintaining the ecosystem. During that time, I saw this video of insects in TED, and then is it this the right thing that world needs?
Insect as a food for
no, insects as a so the video I saw was a guy who was raising fish and chicken, and he has some vegetables waste. He runs a restaurant. Waste he's feeding to the insects, and the insects are doing the waste management, and the insects he's feeding to the chicken and the fish, and then using those fish and chicken back in the restaurant.
Very smart guy.
I mean, it's so commonsensical, but common sense is not so common, right? So that's the problem. So, so I thought, why this can't be a solution for the entire world? I mean, we are wasting. We produce a lot of waste. Why can't we make it a solution, an industrial scale solution for problems for the cities, problem for the industries? So that's where my interest started, and then I developed a lot of thought process around it, but until you do it, you never know.
Right.
So it took a long gestation period of
Right.
6-7 years of simmering in my mind, and then when it came in 2018, I started this.
Love it. Murali, what's your story?
Yeah, sure. As Praveen said that, I did my master's from Central University, Hyderabad here. And this is where exactly, I was just trying for medical prior to that, joining a master's in Central University, doing graduate. And again, when we had limited seats and I couldn't get into the medical stream, then of
Medical
course,
meaning like
doctor,
for
MBBS
MBBS. Okay.
kind of thing. Then I got opportunity to join the Central University Hyderabad in Animal Science division there. And I was casually, of course, studying it. I didn't have any specific aim at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But the professor, some of the lectures, I can still today also recall that. There's a professor called Professor Radha Krishnamurthy. And he took a lecture in our master's class on neurobiology. And we are a team of 40 people in that class. And he spoke continuously for 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And not even a single person has moved from their place
Mm-hmm.
listening to his lecture.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the day we decided, wow, what we are doing here is a great thing. What we are studying is a wonderful thing.
Right.
And that has triggered actually my passion towards the biotech. And that day onwards, although I'm kind of a backbencher all the time,
Right.
then that class has actually triggered me. Okay, I should invest here my time here. Let's see what is this world is about in this particular domain. And then subsequently, a lot of other professors have actually the environment in that University of Hyderabad has made me to go and pursue my career towards the biotech.
So, what was that one thing that resonated with you so much? Like, what triggered that interest?
In that particular class, he has explained how does Alzheimer's disease plaques.
What is it?
Alzheimer's, we keep forgetting with the age.
Oh, Alzheimer's. Yeah.
Alzheimer's
Yeah.
disease, the plaques get formed. It is explaining how does the plaques get formed in a mechanical,
Right.
and the amount of science involved, the amount of mechanisms he has explained. It is kind of thing. Wow, so much is happening within our own bodies,
Right.
and we didn't know that one.
Right.
So there are so many things out there, and then we do see all the time. A lot of the people are suffering, and a lot of the diseases are there, and there are some of the diseases which we don't have a solution still.
Right.
That's where we call it as unmet medical needs are there.
Right.
Now, this is the where if we are able to contribute even at least one useful drug we can bring into the patients, that's the greatest achievement of the life.
100%.
So that's the passion. That's what is driving me, that I have to stick to this field, what may come, and can I get it at least one drug
Right.
in my career?
Yeah, I think brain is such a sophisticated organ, so it's easy to find your passion.
Yes.
And neurobiology, right?
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
machinery is so advanced.
Yes.
That's amazing. So you found your passion in insects. You call it insect technology, right? You found it in neurobiology,
Yes.
neuroscience. Very different, but still related in a way, right? So your goal was how to fix the brain and or issues with the brain, whether it's genetic in nature. Go ahead.
Yeah, just so sorry to interrupt you. Although the passion got triggered in the brain,
Right.
but as I keep, further studies on doing my doctoral PhD, all that, I actually moved to the immune system, immunology.
Oh, I see.
And this is where I'm actually working
Right.
more into that.
Right.
And brain is something which is, I found that it requires much more guts to go there.
It does require a lot of efforts for sure.
Yes, it does.
Okay, so what's next? You have some idea what you want to work on, what you want to dedicate or invest your youth to create an impact.
I was already 32 when I came back to India.
32 is young, man.
Yeah.
So, how do you start an insect tech company? Do you look for the insects? You didn't have ChatGPT when you started? Otherwise,
yeah.
with ChatGPT, it's easy. You just use a research model
Yep.
and pick the best insect
Yeah.
for you to find the purpose.
I already knew what insect I wanted to work on,
Right.
but I didn't know where to start.
Right.
So I traveled Southeast Asia to really understand what's happening in the world,
Right.
because Southeast Asia often is like at least 3-4 years advanced than India, especially Indonesia, Korea, South Korea.
Advanced in terms of research.
In terms of not trying out things. So when it comes to agriculture, especially in the insect technology, they're at least 3-4 years ahead.
Really?
Yeah, of course. And Malaysia, for that matter, Thailand, and traveled for a month. Meeting different people, different organizations, and that's where I picked up. What's it's all passion. It's it's only your heart speaking. Your mind is not connected at that point. So, and then I came back, and then started very small with a few people whom I know here in India who are into agricultural sector.
Right.
So they offered me a bit of help in terms of providing a place to start, especially. And then I knew nothing of the market because I was 10 years away from India. So I didn't know anything, how to move things, how to move people, how to move goods, how to move money, nothing. All I have is crazy passion. So
Right.
that's what I started at zero. And I got some help for 6 months. And then India's largest egg layer poultry company called Sakku Group.
What group?
Sakku Group.
Sakku Group.
SAKKU.
Okay.
They produce around 6 million eggs a day.
Wow. Insects?
No, eggs. Chicken eggs that we eat. So they approached us. They approached me through some common contact, and they said, "Yeah, we produce 6 million eggs a day, and with that we also produce 700 tons of chicken manure every day."
Mm-hmm.
So we only see the front side of the equation all the time, in food production. We don't see the back side, what's happening,
waste. Yeah.
how much waste. We only see how much how tasty the food is in the restaurant, but we don't see backside of the kitchen, so how much food is getting wasted.
We see the biryani of Hyderabad.
Everything, yeah. So in Hyderabad itself, you have 200 to 300 tons of food waste every day from the restaurants. For example, I'm just since we are in Hyderabad, insect technology is all about looking at places where you don't look usually.
Mm-hmm.
So to find out solutions for those problems which were there were no solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out those solutions for problems which were there were never solutions in that. So they approached Sakku Group approached us, and then we started developing the technology for chicken manure treatment using insects, because these insects are known to present in chicken manure naturally, but in a very low density.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can breed these insects, in large numbers and then deploy onto the chicken manure. So the problem with chicken manure is with that much 700 tons of chicken manure every day is that there is a lot of issues in terms of pollution around the places of this business operations, and then the diseases for the birds. Birds are constantly having high ammonia load with the coming out of their manure, and all these things. There are and there is a huge housefly problem, and houseflies are great at disseminating diseases.
Right.
So all these things, they were spending a lot of money without a solution, without any effectiveness. And that's where we started developing this technology for the largest company in India. And that's where our journey started industrially. It took us 3 years.
So when you started developing technology, meaning started identifying the insect that can help them decompose or help with the waste treatment,
waste management.
So that's what you mean by
so we already knew which insect to work with.
Okay.
But to develop the insect, for example, we started with 1 gram of egg in August 2018. I remember still today. 1 gram of egg. And then it took us that 1 gram of egg. We got it from a company who is in Tamil Nadu, who's doing, so that 1 gram to produce 1 kilo of eggs. from 1 gram
for insects.
Yeah, insects, you know.
Yeah.
Please, insect eggs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 1 kilo of eggs.
Don't want to mix chicken eggs.
Yeah,
with
chicken eggs.
insect eggs.
Yeah. No. We are not anywhere close to chicken eggs anymore. So that's not our this thing. It took us 6 months
Right.
to produce 1 kilo of eggs from 1 gram.
Mm-hmm.
So for 1 gram to 1 kilo is 6 months, and 1 kilo to 10 kilos, it took us 3 years.
How does it work if you talk about the breeding cycle? And
yeah, so from 1 gram you have certain number of flies, and
Right.
then and they breed,
Right.
mate, and then they lay eggs, and then they become larvae again, and then these larvae become flies, and then they mate again, and then they reproduce, and that's how the cycle increases. So one fly can lay around 500 eggs. One insect can lay around 400 to 500 eggs at one time. Even though it is very simple, if you think mathematically, you can multiply this very fast. But naturally, it's so difficult. These insects are, they're not meant to be, maintained in huge density, especially the flies.
Right.
Naturally, they don't occur in that high density. If you want to maintain them high density, you have to be absolutely clear of the conditions that you provide them with. And in figuring out those conditions, you have to think like an insect. I often I stand in the insect breeding cage. They're big houses, by the way.
And try to think like them.
I just stand there, doing nothing, observing for hours together.
To connect with them.
Just to understand, what do they need? If I'm an insect, what do I need?
Lord, man, your passion is next level. Yeah.
That's the only thing that got us the solutions, actually. So there nothing else. No manual
connection.
No manual.
Right.
I'm an academician, and I'm sorry to say that. I have read more than 200 publications when I came to India to dig deeper into this. Not even one publication stood the test of in the real world. It's so embarrassing.
Meaning that they were not reproducible.
They were not reproducible on the ground. Because we do in the lab so small scale, so disconnected from the practical world, nothing translates into practice. Because see, we are at scale. We are doing things at scale.
Right.
And when you do, let's say, when we want to test something, we test on at least few 100,000 larvae, for example, insects.
Right.
And when you do academically, they test in 20 insects, 30 insects. It does not make any sense. So that was the biggest. Then I stopped reading academic papers altogether.
Right.
And I just put all scientific manuals and academic papers in the dustbin, and then using intuitiveness and thinking like an insect. What does it need? What do I need? What does an insect need? What do I need? So those two things. So only when these two things are clearly answered.
So it has to be win-win. Right?
Yeah.
So insect is happy, you are happy.
Yeah. What do I need? What does insect need? When these two things are answered, then there is a solution that's coming out of this.
That's a true love affair,
Yeah, and the solution has a value, and the value is your business proposition. So.
Right. Love it. I would double click in a bit on the problem because it looks like you identified the problem, and it was more about developing the solution at scale.
Exactly.
Right? So we can double click on it. But let's go back to Murali. It also helps with my neck. We talked about how you got excited about biology because of how the brain functions and like diseases like Alzheimer, how they work, how they can be cured, what can be the impact if we can find a solution for those diseases. But now you are more in immunology space, immuno-oncology space. So can you talk about the transition? Like how did you end up co-founding the company in immuno-oncology space?
In my journey, actually, I have crossed several stages. Like I did my PhD from Nagasaki, Japan. Subsequently, I moved to the United States, NIH Bethesda, where I actually happened to learn about the target identification and validation. And that was the time where Nobel Prize was awarded to the small interfering RNA. And coincidentally, I was exactly working in my postdoc with kernel on the small interfering RNA with these, C. elegans worms, small worms, which we can do all kinds of research, genetic modifications over there.
Can you dumb it down when you say small interfering RNA? What are they?
Like in our body, a lot of genes gets expressed, and some of the genes we do not want them to express,
Right.
so that the disease can be controlled
Right.
or can be cured. So what we do here is we put small fragments of this RNA and we put back into the cells so that this specific gene of interest does not express more than what it is required, or we can say that 80 to 90% we can make them silent.
Right. So it's a natural, in a way, defense system to control the overexpression of genes.
Exactly.
Love exactly. It. Okay. So you were working on it.
On that, and then I realized that this is where I got a transition from the academics to the industrial sector.
Mm-hmm.
And when I moved to the industry, then I took the decision that I had to go back to the industry and no more. I don't want to continue any longer in the academics, because my passion is towards that. Can I develop a drug here? And then I realized that in academics it may not be feasible given that scenario. So I moved to the industry, and I started moving one industry to another industry. Finally, I ended up in Nectar Therapeutics, which is again in a Hyderabad based thing. And here I got an opportunity to work on the immunology and immunotherapeutics, basically. And this has triggered me, more passion into that. When we see a lot of the diseases, what is happening, one thing is always a common here, is that our immune system is not optimal. Like our own body defense systems are not behaving which they are supposed to be to keep us healthy.
That's for infectious diseases, or you would say
every disease.
Okay.
It could be autoimmune disease, it could be infection, or it could be even cancer too.
Right.
Because our immune system is not behaving properly,
right,
we are prone to multiple diseases.
Right.
Now, what if we can bring back this immune system to its natural state? Can we develop some kind of the medicine which can bring back this immune system to our natural state? There
Right.
could be stimulators. There are situations where we have to make our body defense system act more aggressively.
Right.
And there are situations where we have to suppress the immune system.
Right.
And this is what, kind of creating a more opportunities to work on, or to make sure that we will able to develop some kind of a
Right.
therapeutic for us to work on.
So you're saying it's more like you have to increase the defense budget of your body, right?
Exactly.
Your immune system is like a defense system. I'm using these terms because currently there's a lot of dogfight happening between India and Pakistan, and they all talk about defense budget. And
to just add to this thing, it should not be all the time, defensive and sometimes offensive too.
Right.
Some situations of the disease we have to be offensive.
Really?
And some situations we have to be defensive.
What do you mean by this? If you explain this in really layman terms.
Let's say we have some kind of a infection is coming in
Right.
in your body.
Right.
Our system has to be offensive. It has to be proactive to, make
That's
sure
true.
that these pathogens are not taking advantages of our body, and then they can occupy our body.
Okay. I love the analogy here.
And sometimes we have to be suppressive, because it should not that our defensive forces attack our own body.
Right.
This is what happens in autoimmune systems.
Right.
So we have to make the balance of our defensive systems. So
it's true even at the molecular level, right? So you need a balance of
exactly
when to defend, when to.
Absolutely. This is what we call homologous status or homogeneous status. We have to bring it back.
Right. I love it. So you're currently running this therapeutic company, but a lot of years, I think over a decade, you're still running a CRO business. So, like, how do you start a CRO business? So you were doing postdoc in the US or PhD?
I was doing my postdoc.
Okay.
And then
In siRNA space?
Exactly.
Okay. And then you decided to come back to India, enter the industry.
Yes.
Worked for Nectar Therapeutics.
Yeah, I started with Reliance Life Sciences. My
Reliance Life
Life
Sciences.
Sciences
Okay.
in Mumbai.
Okay.
There again, I continued my work with siRNA
Mm-hmm.
in oncology domain, as well as in kind of a spinal cord injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And we did actually file several patents over there.
Okay.
But sometimes in this industry, either you were too early or you were too late.
Right.
Never be we are on the right side.
Right.
So when we were working on this siRNA medicines, when we did it, we were probably too early because there were no appropriate delivery systems available for us to deliver this siRNA to the humans.
So when you say late, because of what? Like that there are other competitors in the market already?
The technology wise.
Okay.
Sometimes the technology.
There's like a better version of.
Yeah. The technology may not have matured to the level where you can really develop a drug and hit the market.
Or it was too early.
Yes.
I see. Too early, ahead of time, because there was no delivery
systems available for us,
right?
To move into the clinicals and then kind of, develop a therapeutic there.
When you say delivery system, meaning drug administration, like how?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
No, makes sense. And then you started the CRO business?
Then I moved to the Nectar Therapeutics.
Okay.
From there, I actually worked on several of these, again, immuno-oncology projects.
Right.
The opportunities I have is a very, I would say that I'm the luckiest person because being one of the Nectar Therapeutics is a San Francisco-based company, but it has an arm in Hyderabad, in India. And one of the molecules, we call it as NKTR214, are subsequently labeled as a Bempeg aldesleukin. I did work in my team from the scratch onwards, the screening of the molecule, all the way up to identifying the lead molecule and then moving into the clinicals. So this is where, apart from working with the IL-2, interleukin-2, we call in the full form of that, and the same molecule has multiple functions. If we block one portion of this molecule, it acts as a autoimmune, to address the autoimmune thing. It increases the suppressive immune system. That means our proactive immune cells are no longer be proactive. They become dumb. But if you alter its binding property, it will become active immune system. It will work in the cancer where it is required to proliferate the T cells.
Right.
So it's the same molecule,
right,
but two different functionalities.
Love it. Yeah, it's really magical to see how same molecule, how body responds differently.
Exactly.
Same molecule,
That's
slight differences.
Yeah, this is where the biotechnology or genetic engineering comes into play. We had to do a small changes.
Right.
The way this molecule goes and binds
Right.
to its receptor.
Right.
No, it's like a lock and key in a simple words. If I had to tell it,
Right.
then you can open the door one way or you can close the door another way.
Right.
So how do you put your key there?
Right.
We consider that is a receptor on that. So that is what kind of very interesting, and it never allowed me to sleep properly.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And subsequently we had several molecules in the similar domain.
So that's more Nectar Therapeutics,
Nectar
right? Then
Therapeutics.
how did you end up starting your own business?
Then obviously, because I'm losing the sleep, I have the sleepless nights. Why not I do something for us, our own molecule? That's where it has triggered. So let me have can I find somebody to invest in me, so that from this part of the world, having that experience that I developed from scratch all the way to the clinicals,
Right.
why can't we do the more such molecules?
I see. So you always wanted to start a therapeutic business. CRO was
Exactly.
just like a hybrid model to generate
Hybrid
cash.
model. And to build our cash for the therapeutic model,
I
there
see.
has to be a revenue generation. And that revenue has to come from where we can use our skill sets
Right.
and do offer services
Right.
for somebody like big pharma or who does not have the similar skill sets with them,
Right.
so that we can generate a revenue. This revenue can be pumped into our own therapeutic molecules.
Makes sense.
That's how, although we wanted to start a therapeutic company, but looking at the revenue generation, okay, we do have some revenue generation model for us to be sustainable or to go long run. So
Right.
that's where the CRO has come
So
in.
how do you start this hybrid business? So you have some core technology to start a therapeutic biotech. And then when you provide services, is it based on the core technology, or is it everything like a supportive work you are already doing to support your pipeline?
Yeah, well, our pipeline is we differentiated
Okay.
what we offer in the services
Right.
and what we use for our therapeutic pipeline.
I see.
So we don't offer what we use for our therapeutic pipeline.
So it's different line of business.
Exactly.
Teams are different too?
Teams are also different.
Huh. So it's not like you're sharing the knowledge you're building. Okay.
It's a kind of generating the revenues there
Okay.
with the supportive activities.
Got it. Okay.
But for our therapeutic pipeline, we have built a platform technology.
Okay.
We call it as IMC, IMCY.
Okay.
It's a immune modulation and cytotoxicity.
Mm-hmm.
Where using this platform technology, we have generated good number of molecules, and these have been screened some of the therapeutic domains. And these were shown to be like, we did identify the lead molecules, and then we generated intellectual property for our Lextro organization.
What's the application?
The applications are into the multiple domains. For instance, like chronic wound healing. When we say that chronic wound healing, it could be type 2 diabetic ulcers, foot ulcers, or type 1 ulcers, or wounds which gets infected repeatedly and they don't get, treatment options are very limited there.
And they play the role with immune system?
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's surprisingly to our thing, when we were formulating our strategy, we did our homework to see what is the competition here.
Right.
And then we went through it. To our knowledge, to our surprise, there is only one biologic molecule approved for the treatment purpose in chronic wounds in the entire globe, even till today.
Who is the manufacturer?
That's actually the brand is called Regranex.
Okay.
Now it is out of patent, and many people are manufacturing it.
But who created this? Big Pharma?
Smith and
Mitten. Okay.
yeah. They are the first one who did actually this particular molecule. Smith and Nephew are the guys who did it. Bicalpamar.
Right. So basically, the problem statement was you realized there were not enough alternatives for chronic wound healing.
Absolutely.
That's how it all started. So you saw this market potential.
Yes.
We will talk more about problem solving, right? You identified the problem and then you created the solution. How are you creating the solution? So we will talk about the whole journey in a bit.
Sure.
Alrighty. So what do you think about delivering drugs through insects? Are you creating some miniaturized insects that can deliver drugs?
I think at least 3, 4, 5 years away. I haven't even to conceive such things.
That's not a bad idea, like some miniaturized insect. You just
only request I have is that make the insects sweet to swallow.
Sweet.
Why do we have to swallow? I mean, in the first place,
Okay.
we don't have to.
It's like targeted therapy.
I see.
Let them do what they do the best. I mean, the strongest, strength. I mean, the strength of the insect, the particular insect we are working, it's a black soldier fly larvae, actually. The scientific name being Hemisia illucens. The strongest suit it can bring onto the table, it multiplies so rapidly, 4,000 fold in 14 days.
Wow.
So so that's the the insane amount of multiplying capability that it has.
Right.
And it's not multiplying, actually, it's gaining the body mass.
Right.
So if you give me 1 gram of egg in 14 days,
Right.
it's 4,000 fold. So that's like 4 kilos.
Right.
So how do we leverage this massive strength to solve certain problems that are unsolved? So now, if you think for waste management, that's an insanely voracious appetite. That if you can make things work in the way the insect expects it to be.
But if I go back to what we were talking, I know it's very fictitious what we are saying to create insect that can be used as a delivery tool to deliver a drug. Is that even possible, or it's totally rubbish? No,
it's, I think I don't know. I mean, like, generally you say nanotechnology today, nano drug delivery systems, but how can an insect go and deliver something? Of course, you can.
If you can program them and say, "Hey, deliver,"
I think size wouldn't allow that to.
No?
Yeah, but Praveen, if I was briefly reading some time back the mosquito, how it sucks blood from us,
Yes.
and the mechanism is too elaborate. It plants it, it lands it, just like it, and then it sends some sensor how deep it has to go in, and then actual machinery will get and takes the blood. If something you can think of, like we put the drug in insect and it will go. Why taking blood can it deliver the drug?
They are. I think we are underestimating insects. They are strategic thinkers.
I mean,
you have to align incentives, though. Like, what's in it for them?
It's always humans. Greed that wins over all these things, technically.
I know we are joking, but
but I know it's true.
sci-fi.
No, it's true. It's true. I mean, what Murali said is a great idea, but in fact, who would allow for it? I mean, would you like to have an injection going to hospital, or you would like to put your hand in a net of mosquitoes and let them bite you?
I would prefer that.
I mean, okay.
If it's well tested, FDA approved, I'm gonna say, okay, here, come and bite me and deliver the drug.
Yeah, no, but I mean, that's a really important point. I mean, since you mentioned mosquitoes, I mean, because all the time investors ask me, why don't you try another insect? If I'm going to try another insect, it's not growing something but killing mosquitoes.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, all our human endeavor has been in agriculture and mosquitoes, about killing insects.
Mm-hmm.
There are very few instances where humans have used their intellectual might to grow insects. That is in silkworms for silk, honeybees for honey, and lac, LAC, that we used to make all the bangles in India, and still it's a very prized resin.
Right.
I think these are only 3 instances where humans have used their intellect to grow insects for the benefit of, and I think it's hardly 1% of the entire endeavor of human intellect, and 99% we used it to kill insects, pests. And if I have to use my intellect, again, it should be for killing mosquitoes.
I will never see the insects the same way.
Because see, I mean, for example, the insect that we work with, it has insane capabilities. This 4,000 fold of multiplication. Second thing is, they're made up of they're made completely different from any other organism.
What these insects are called?
Black soldier fly.
I saw this on a website. They look like a proper Superman.
I mean, to me, they're Superman, technically,
A woman.
A woman. It doesn't matter. I mean, if there is a man, there should be a woman somewhere.
Right.
So. But
I'm trying to be politically correct. Sometimes you use these normal words.
I mean, Superman should also have come from a woman. So
that's very true.
So there's no unilateral gender or whatever it is.
Totally.
Yeah. So the point is, these insects are made completely different.
Right.
For example, since we are talking about immune system, insects humoral immune system is primarily with melanin.
Mm-hmm.
So when something enters into the insect body, they create polymers of melanin and then localize them, and then they produce their own set of reactions, which is completely different to higher
They
forms
create
of
melanin, like melanin in the skin we have.
exactly. It's a different form of
Probably a
melanin.
very brown insect.
Yeah. So now we are isolating this melanin from hemolymph of these insects. So this melanin has certain applications in for cosmetics, UV screens, radiation, anti-radiation UV screens. It's a military grade. The military is also interested in. US military is working on melanin-based components for UV radiation. And then the last thing is also electronics, because melanin happens to be a very good conductor on bioelectronics.
Wow.
So compatibility is really good when they're put in bioelectronics.
Mm-hmm.
So there is this whole new domain is opening up with melanin, and there will be two main sources going forward. Either it's fungal melanin or insect melanin.
Mm-hmm.
So fungal melanin is fermentative. Another great thing about these insects is that when you talk about traditional biotech industry, you need a bacteria or a fungus strain, pure strain, and then you need fermenters, upstream, and all this. This is a huge capex upstream, especially upstream is huge capex. Maybe Murali can comment better. As far as I am concerned, upstream is 60% of the entire capex.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So here, when you work with insects, the entire upstream can be eliminated.
Because your machinery, your bioreactors are insects.
Yeah, insect itself is a bioreactor.
Yeah.
So if you want to produce something inside an insect, you can eliminate the entire upstream cost. And then, I'm not telling that everything that's being produced in bacteria and fungi and mammalian cells will come to insects.
Right.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about there are certain things that you can produce in insects at scale. And then all you need is a very, very well enclosed, facility, because it's a genetical modification at some point. And then all you need is a 500 rupee tray, plastic crate, to
500
create.
rupee is $8.
$8, $10. Maybe you can put it $10 just to produce, 5 kilo biomass in a week time. In that, you can produce whatever molecule you can produce. Maybe 1%, 2% yield. So just take this back. If you want to increase the scale, 5 kilos to 5 tons. It's so simple. You can do it in a matter of a couple of months.
Wow.
A couple of months, and hardly 5% of the capex of upstream.
So you can start a biofactory using insects as host, and like melanin factory. In India, we have it in abundance.
It's only not only melanin. We are working on melanin, antimicrobial peptides, another strong suit. Yeah. This insect particularly, because it's a detritivore, that means it thrives in waste.
Fecal
waste, you can call it dump yard. I think dump yard is its home.
Right.
So we went to Mangalore. There we saw it naturally growing there.
Right.
So it thrives in dump yard.
Did you recognize them from distance? Hey, I know you.
No, I recognized from the pupal shell. I didn't know the insects were there. The pupal shell, I saw it on the ground. I saw it. It seems familiar. These guys should be somewhere nearby. And then I asked a guy to help me with lifting the pile, and then there are these guys inside.
And they were like,
so they're happily in there.
Did you grab some of them?
No, we already have a lot.
You have insects with you, not live one, right? I wish you had like a live insect. But you have some powder.
Yes. I will just show it in a bit. The other point I'm mentioning is since they're from this waste management environment, they produce 50 different antimicrobial peptides naturally. Wow. And this is a very strong, reason why we are investing our resources into, or expressing them naturally, and then, if needed, artificially. We have submitted a proposal to start to begin manipulating the genes of the promoters of these AMPs to overexpress them. So maybe in one couple of years, we would like to have a product, in our hands, because one of the biggest problem. Because since I worked very closely with poultry industry, they use antibiotics as growth promoters. And when you ask them, they have no choice not to use them. because they have to. That's that's became an industry standard. There is no alternative, and we wanted to bring an alternative. So if I want my kids to eat healthy chicken, there should be an antibiotic-free chicken.
Right.
So I mean, it's for me. I see what is in it for me or for my kids going forward.
Right.
So this is one of the reasons why we are very much motivated to invest our resources to produce these antimicrobial peptides loaded insect protein that goes into chicken that replaces antibiotics in the end. So these are the strong suits of the insect that we are working with.
Love it. And so upstream is taken care of, or can
Of
be.
course.
Right. So upstream can be much more affordable if we use more biomachineries, like we were talking before we started recording. Right. So all of us are going crazy about Gen AI, artificial intelligence, which is inorganic intelligence that we humans created. Right. But we are not really, like, our excitement is not as much as it deserves for organic intelligence, right? Which is more biological intelligence, and there are billions of years of evolutionary forces behind these insects, right? These are very sophisticated machineries. So we generally, I mean, you do, but most people don't see these insects as a really advanced machinery that humans are not capable of replicating, to be honest.
For example, mosquitoes, simple mosquito, how complicated the bite is, how many apparatus are getting involved, how many chemicals, proteins are getting involved. So what I mean is simplicity. When nature is at its best, that means it is simple enough. It's robust, simple, robust, and then it is at its best.
It reproduces automatically.
Yeah, it's so robust. There's so there is very small degree of stochasticity. I mean, error prone. I mean, we humans have a lot of stochasticity in everything what we do, but in insects, I think they have,
mutations in nature. So that's not perfect either.
Yeah, but they're so. I mean, the degree of freedom is so less with these lower organisms. Lower bacteria, fungi, or insects. They're so robust in what they do, and they do it at their best capacity.
But I think the way they can replicate super fast, like artificial intelligence, at least not at the moment, can reproduce or replicate at all, right? But these machineries, these robots, I think robot is a better term. I mean, more like organic machinery.
When it comes to that point, they will replicate much faster than these insects.
Yeah.
Because it's an organic code. All it needs an infrastructure. But all that said, we still need to eat. We still need to, grow foods, have medicines produced, have things sustainably done. All the things, moving goods, eating food, everything has to be done. It's not, AI is going to make these things better, faster, and sustainable, more efficient, people more efficient, systems more efficient. But you're not going to replace primary. I call this as a primary sector. Growing food, moving people, moving goods. So these things, transport and agriculture will be more efficient, but there is no replacing. An IT professional can be worried today because of how AI is coming for his job. I think people who are in biotech or in agri, for that matter, are more comfortable now than ever in terms of not worrying about AI. It will only make them better.
Right. No, I think there's like a perfect marriage between biology, because that's like the most advanced natural machinery or processes with so many variables, right? And so they have their own skill set, like own domain of power, zone of genius. And then you have inorganic intelligence that their strength is more to mine big data, to really find out what are those variables, right? So when you combine both of them together, super chaotic, super old in terms of evolutionary processes. And this is more that can, when they come together, they can make things more certain, more predictable. So both of them coming together is very powerful, right? So that's why biology, the industry, biotech industry will be the biggest beneficiary of artificial intelligence revolution,
Yep.
right? Because so many variables, and you need to make sense out of that big data that these small insect machinery or human machinery is producing that we are not even capturing.
Yeah, everybody is going to be super efficient, and especially in the biotech. I can't comment on others, agri and agri-tech, agri-biotech, companies, teams, people, as an individual, processes. Everything is going to be super efficient. For example, I'll give you a small anecdote from my own personal journey. While I was doing my postdoctoral work, I had to deal with large data sets. I was not a programmer, but I learned programming. I was doing a lot of machine learning, everything on R, everything, and it took me 1.5 years of hard. I was passionate again when I was doing coding. I was doing 12 hours straight coding every day.
You're passionate about insects, that I can tell you.
No, this was before, and okay. and now there is no need for me to put 2 years of that time if I have to do that all over again, since there is an AI which can code far better than me.
Right.
So 2 years of wasted time. I don't know how to think about it.
I won't say wasted because you learn problem solving, but yeah, now with AI, I think you're still problem solving, but at different level.
Yes.
Right. So you like basic like code can be written by your AI, but you still have to know how to write prompts. So all the basics you learn, you will be able to do better prompt engineering than me because I don't have basics in programming.
Of course.
So it will help.
But 1.5 years, I think. If you want to learn prompting, I think maybe a couple of months, or maybe if you're good enough, maybe a month should be good enough.
That's true, but you still, if you know the basics of programming, you can guide AI much better. You can use Copilot much better, Autopilot. No, that's amazing. We still want to talk about the problem solving from your end. I think we got distracted because the whole insect technology is so fascinating. Yeah, as I said, I won't be able to see any insect the same way. Again, I will see it and I will say, can I leverage them to create like some application?
Of course, yeah.
Right. So amazing what you're doing. You saw the need in the market. There were not too many drugs. I think you mentioned there was only one approved drugs for chronic wound healing. Did you notice any limitation with that drug, or like what made you convinced that this can be the right use of your time?
Yeah, the approved drug has its own limitations. At least it was for many long years on black box warning from the US FDA, stating that repeated use beyond like 6 months or so, if you do that, it could be a carcinogenic. That means it is a high likely possibility of generation of the cancers.
Like a skin cancer?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why it for many years it carried a black box warning, and
Right.
also the percent of people who respond to it are not really great
Right.
for this particular drug. So there is a huge unmet medical need is there. Then the question comes is that what made the Lextro to feel that we can address this issue? When we thought about it, when we look into the dig much deeper into the subject, what we understood is that the mechanisms with which the body operates to heal these wounds are totally different than what our existing drugs are doing it. In the sense that majority of the current, whatever the approved drug, is not actually working at the immune system level, but this is where for healing to happen, immune system has to be functional
Right.
very well.
Right.
And this is where the gaps are there in our understanding. And this is the opportunity for Lextro to have a drug built where we do modulate the immune system. At the same time, we are constructing the body tissues. In fact, we call it as our molecule, we code it as LXD801. And also we have another molecule called LXD8702. These molecules, we call it as science of construction. if you look into the oncology of cancer, the problem there is that we have to kill the cells which are growing beyond our control. In case of the chronic wounds or in case of the acute kidney injuries, the problem is we have to construct the tissues. That's why we call our science as a construction science. For the
Do you have trademark on it? Science of construction.
Oh yeah, we have to take it.
Okay, you do. Okay, yeah.
So this is where our molecules are addressing just not that superficially healing it.
So you are saying the competing drug, it also solves the problem or fixes the symptoms at the surface level, but it doesn't really cure it because it has no impact on the immune system. So it's not like a permanent fix.
Yes.
So you're saying even if it helps with the wound healing, wounds come back?
Yes, you're spot on.
I see.
Yeah, because these wounds, when they get exposed to the natural environment and they get infected.
I see.
And even whether there is an infection, whether there is no infection, still immune system has to do its function,
right,
to make sure that it can able to defend properly.
Right.
Because again, the homeostasis needs to be established there in that area. And most of the times these wounds, they lose the circulation because the blood vessels are not growing so greatly in these chronic wounds.
Right.
At the same time, they become the lack of oxygen will be there, hypoxic environment.
Right.
But our molecule, LX801, does address in both these scenarios. We increase the circulation. We also cause the immune system to function well so that LX801 has capability to address chronic wounds. In case of diabetic patients, especially, often people call it as India as the diabetic capital of the world. So what happens is that in these diabetic conditions, our lymphocytes in the body, our immune system in the body, they get compromised in their functionality. Now, what our molecule do is that we bring back that functionality with our drug so that we can retain that homeostasis nature.
Love it. So what data you have to support that your drug really fixes not just symptoms, but cures it?
Yeah, we have done a lot of laboratory experiments using the human cells and human blood cells as well. Apart from that, we did the preclinical studies, like we generated animals, models, where in diabetic animals and immune suppression animals.
And created these wounds?
We created these wounds and we administered our drug and we compared our data with respect to the approved drug molecules which are available in the market. To our surprise, we almost see like a 50 to 60% fast recovery when we administer our molecule compared to the what has been out there in the market.
Makes sense. In Hyderabad, where most companies get their animal models from or primary tissues?
That's a good question. To just highlight that, in India, Hyderabad is the city where almost all globally reputed laboratory animal suppliers are having their shops here.
Like Jackson Labs?
Jackson Labs, Charles River, and then Teconic. And they have tied up with local partners and they produce their breeds here. And so the quality of the animals, what we get here are really world-class animals.
Do they have more affordable pricing for the local market?
Well, yes, they do have the affordable pricing. At the same time, what we care here is that is the quality of the animals. What we get here is the most important because that's where the data, what we generate, speaks about it.
Right.
So
they make it here, so there's no tariff, no import duty from the government? Or
they breed here.
Okay.
We don't import those animals.
So it's make in India.
Exactly.
Okay.
Atmanirbhar.
Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Yes.
That's a slogan of
Yes.
Prime Minister of India, right? Atmanirbhar. How do you translate Atmanirbhar?
Self-sufficient.
Self-sufficient India. That's make in India. So animal models are make in India.
Yes.
Love it. So it's generally these rodents model, or we have these non-human primates. And
Right now, we are working on majorly the rodent models.
right, no, but in Hyderabad, are they making
Yes,
non-human primate
yes,
models
we
as
do
well?
have non-human primates
Okay,
available. At least to my knowledge, two of them are actually doing the studies.
right.
I mean, they do offer the services
Mhm.
in Hyderabad. Yes,
There's so many. It's a bad joke, but there's so many monkeys roaming around in Delhi and Agra. Can we use them as disease model? Or
well, there are two different species of monkeys are there, and the species of monkey what we are holding is not well characterized to suit for the animal experiments. At least in India, we have not done it. I'm talking from the perspective globally, what is available and where majority of the studies have been conducted.
so you're saying these species are not the right one to
I don't
recapitulate human
say
disease?
right one. We have not done. We didn't understood them well whether they suit for our experiments or not. And most important thing is that what we use monkeys in our globally in trend is that they weigh very small, like 3 kgs to 5 kgs. But our monkeys weigh 20 kgs. So the amount of drag I had to produce to understand it is working or not is a huge costly affair for me.
But I'm not even kidding, right? They create so much chaos, and I mean, I'm all for cruelty free and animal rights, but because we are already running experiments on animals,
Yes.
and if you see how much terror they make, they enter your house. And I was in Agra, and you can see in your home monkeys just show up in groups, like 20, with all their grandparents, all the family members, their siblings. And so I was thinking, because I live and breathe biotech, so I was thinking if we can repurpose them for our labs. But
that's a good idea. But actually, the science is moving beyond animals now.
Yeah.
Even very recently, US FDA has released a kind of a guidance, I would say, that we need to eliminate this animal testing. Not because of the ethical issues,
right,
because of the translatability of the drugs.
That's very true. I think, I don't remember what was the type of a drug. So they only, like FDA released this guideline only for specific type of drug.
It's a monoclonal antibodies.
Monoclonal antibodies, yeah.
Is where they told us that you don't have to really test them in the animals.
Right.
It got to be three-dimensional cell organoids,
Right.
or organs on chip models,
Right.
and use the artificial intelligence tools
Right.
to see how we can translate these molecules' efficacy or efficiency into the humans.
Yeah,
And
no,
that's a decisive kind of a I don't say it's a guideline or whatever it is, has it taken place already.
yeah, no, I think it's a very primitive way to test a drug, expecting like how rat body responds to a drug, human body will respond the same, right? There's huge difference. But they played their role when we didn't have sophisticated models. But now we are moving towards more in silico models combined with organ on chip models. So I hope in the next decade or so we'll move away from these primitive way to test our drugs. Even human clinical trial, maybe we will eliminate that at some level too.
Well, it does take definitely, as you said rightly, it does take some amount of time,
right?
Especially human clinical trials. It's still a distant dream because we can't test approve a drug without having the data.
Right now, right? I'm talking in our lifetime.
Yes,
we will see. Hopefully, we will eliminate all animal tests.
Yes, that's quite possible at this time.
Right. No, that's awesome. I read one article. I think it says a mouse is a mouse is a mouse. Right. So if you expect human body will respond the same, it's not going to happen.
It is.
What do you
That's
think?
absolutely.
Are we using insects as disease models in the near future too? Are we going to?
I think the S9 cells is an insect cell line, right?
Yeah, we do have actually upstream manufacturing happens in the insect cell lines.
Mm.
Some of our biotherapeutics do gets in big bioreactors. Those insect cell lines we produce the products.
What
And these are all
percentage
approved.
of genome is shared between insects and humans?
That's a difficult.
Probably
Very, very,
95%.
very hard to tell. I mean, like I haven't even thought of that. And we can ask the ChatGPT after this and get an answer. But I mean, of course, there will be a lot of discrepancy. But I mean, already insect cell lines have been used. I think it's one of the better mammalian cell lines for industrial productions. Now we are taking one step back.
Right.
Using the whole organism rather than just one cell line.
Right.
That's the idea.
Right. I want to go back to, you identified the problem. Technically, you had a potential customer, like egg producing company, what it's called?
So Sakku Group was the largest chicken egg producing company in India.
And then you identified the insect that can help with waste disposal or waste treatment of this Sakku Group, the company. Like, how did you go about it, right? How did you start this company? Like, did you need to set up the breeding facility? Did you have to set up labs? Like, how do you start a business like this, let's say in 2025, and how did you do it?
Yeah. I think back then it was, complete naivety on my part. I didn't think through. I just kept on doing things as they came, on the every day at a time. So, what we did back then was once this I was doing on my own. I used to have 3-4 people helping me out with the things for 6 months, and then when this Sakku group came in and they said, okay, let's scale it up. Let's try to scale it up. Let's see if it works for our waste management.
But before scaling up, how did you set it up?
No, it was like, as I said, I had a couple of friends who had a farmland in Hyderabad, around Hyderabad.
Okay.
And I spoke to them and they said, no, you can use this space.
Do you need like water?
A shed and water and certain facilities, for breeding, you need special breeding cages. And for growing, you need special setup, tray setup. So it's it's not really complicated when you're doing it small scale. But when you're trying to scale it up, then all the complications, every problem is, exponentially magnified when you scale it up. And it's if you don't address the problem quick enough, then your entire colony collapses. So you have to be really vigilant. You have to be really, careful on smallest of the smallest details. So, and that's where it took us a lot of time in fine tuning, because when Sakku Group came on board, they have provided with all their, infrastructural support. But still, the problems has to be solved by people who are on the front line, not really by somebody who puts in money or or some infrastructural support. Of course, they will help you.
People who can connect with insects,
like ChatGPT helping us in every domain.
Correct.
Back then, they helped me set up these things and enabled things efficiently. And even then, it took us 3 years to get to a sensible manner where we can generate to finally arrive at a business plan to how to make money with this technology.
Right.
So solution is one thing, and building an economic sense out of such a solution is second thing. So then we finally understood, okay, there are 2-3 domains in this. The first domain is waste management, where you just stick to waste management. You don't expect anything to come out of out of the waste management, but the waste management itself has a value, and you're going to address that and grab that value as a business.
How do you do it? So let's say you have a pile of waste You will just open the cage and
no.
Okay.
No, it's not. It doesn't work like that. So the insects are separately breeding in one particular place. We call this hub. And then where the waste is being generated, we ship insect eggs to the waste generating site, and there the insect eggs hatch into larvae, and larvae are the workhorse of these insects. They are the ones who are doing the entire heavy lifting in waste management or anything. Whatever we are talking, the applications are in larvae.
So they are born and raised there.
The breeding facility is separate.
Right.
So we have built massive breeding facilities.
So breeding is just to produce enough eggs.
Yes.
So you can deploy those eggs to the site.
Yeah.
Where they are born and raised in that field.
Yeah, exactly. So to give you a context, my previous company is called Holocene Eco Solutions. We even today, we produce in that company around 2 billion insects every day.
Wow.
2 billion insects.
How do you count them?
We don't count. We count by weight.
Okay.
The weight of the eggs. So 2 billion insects we produce every day for the waste management services that we created.
Right.
So we have dealt with poultry manure, abattoir waste, modern abattoirs, shrimp processing waste. There is India is the one of the world's largest shrimp exporter.
That's what I heard last night. I didn't even know that. In India, people don't consume shrimp that much.
No.
So we only produce it.
We export to China and US. So Ecuador took our spot now. Is the largest exporter. So previously we were the largest.
So we will see the impact of tariff on shrimp industry.
Yes, of course. Because they're very lucky to have less tariff. I think if our politicians are smart enough, they will also try to, because it's a $8 billion export industry out of India. Wow. Only shrimp, single commodity, $8 billion. And
shrimp industry has a lot of waste.
Yes, when they process it, 30 to 40% is a waste. Only 50 to 60% is eatable. Again, as I said earlier, we don't look at the back of the industry. Right. We only look at the front side.
The shiny stuff.
Shiny
interface.
Yeah, on the back side, there's a lot of things happening on the back side.
And your Superman insect can
every industry. So, every industry has got an ETP or STP on the back of the factory.
What's ETP, STP?
Effluent treatment plant or solid treatment plant, an STP. Okay. ETP is effluent, like liquids, and STP is... so, we don't sit in the office when we go. We don't sit in the front office. We directly go to the back of the industry. So we see the opportunities and gaps and solutions where we can fix things. So it was the same case with abattoir waste. So there was India is the largest exporter of beef. Do you know that?
No.
Yes, of course. Buffalo meat, not the cow meat, but buffalo meat. There are factories in Telangana.
India is the largest. Hard to believe, especially
we are the largest consumers of milk. What will happen to those animals after the milking period is done? Either they go to Goshala, but buffaloes, I'm not sure where they go.
Goshala is like cow housing.
Yeah, cow housing, with a good intent, certain
where they
groups
take care of them.
But I don't know. I don't see buffaloes there. Have you seen buffaloes in Goshalas? No. So buffaloes end up in the abattoirs.
So in India, we have unique respect for cows, but buffalo, poor guys.
I don't know if they're poor or
they don't get enough special treatment.
Of course, yes. And that's the reason why buffalo meat. India is the biggest exporter of beef. Buffalo meat, to precisely put that. And there are factories in India. You would not believe, every 30 seconds an animal goes in. Every 30 seconds throughout the year, an animal goes in. And this is one of the most money-making industry in the agri-tech sector I have seen.
And cows don't go to butcher house, you're saying?
No, never.
I see. And they have special housing.
After, post-retirement housing.
Post-retirement.
You can call it that way.
And these poor male, buffalo.
No, all female buffaloes, right?
Female buffaloes.
Female buffaloes after milking prime time. So,
so cows have special status.
Of course, yes.
Interesting. Very interesting.
But there are two facts. Biggest consumer of milk, biggest exporter of beef.
Which makes sense.
Yeah,
They're
of course,
connected,
because so that's the thing. So there is this big industry, and we developed system for because this particular industry produces huge amount of solids in the ETP and STPs. So it's a nightmare for them to deal with, and we offered a solution for them. So waste management as a solution, that's the first part.
Right.
And the second part in Arthro Biotech, which is the current company we have set up in early 23,
Right.
this is to produce insect protein for animal feed industry.
Yeah, I was about to ask that, because in bacteriophage now to fix bacterial diseases, they are just extracting the protein. What do you call it? Starts with L, something like that, right? So for insects, they cannot just can you just extract the protein?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I have bought some dried insects. So these are the dried insects.
Can you eat them? Are they crunchy enough? Yeah. Looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish you had brought like these live insects.
No, I mean, I could have. This is a protein. That is, once the insects are grown, we blanch them. I mean, 60 degrees water, just to wash away, and then it neutralizes them. And then we dry them, and then remove the oil, and that's the protein fraction that you get.
Can I add this to my coffee? Protein.
I mean, maybe in a couple of years we can have this conversation. Then I would be having a food processing line rather than feed processing line, because in food processing you need to have certain different standards. Of course, the insect is the same. It's a high quality. It's feeding on very clean raw materials. In our previous company, we were using waste as a feed. In the current company, we are using agri byproducts.
Oh, I see. So last company was more on waste treatment.
Yes.
Now the use case is more. They are more for animal feed.
Yeah.
Or aqua.
Pet feed, aqua feed is our primary target customers. So what we do in Arthro Biotech, which is the current company, is we identify raw materials that are available industrially.
Right.
I mean, India is an agri, one of the largest agrarian country, and we produce a lot of ethanol, palm oil, dairy, all these industries in the back produce a lot of byproducts, clean, uniform byproducts. For example, we produce a lot of whey in dairy. We produce a lot of palm kernel, waste when we extract palm oil, when we obtain palm oil. We produce a lot of liquids in starch industry. Starch is very important, essential for all the pharmaceutical industry, for example. So
insects are ready to
consume them, hog on them, and then become this healthy biomass. And for example, I'll give you some numbers. This particular pouch is 100 grams of insect protein.
How many insects you have to crush?
I didn't count them for convenience sake. But what I'm trying to give you is this is going to replace, or if I tell you this, 100 grams of insect protein had saved half a kilo of fish at the ocean.
Because otherwise, we use fish as a food for.
Yeah. So in aquaculture industry, there is a fish in, fish out concept, where we take 4 fish from the ocean and convert them into fish meal, which is fish protein, and then make 1 kilo of fish in the inland.
Right.
So this is a very futile cycle, which is unfortunate. And this fish meal industry I'm talking about is a close to $10 to $12 billion industry, $1 billion industry worldwide. And every year, close to 25 million tons of fish has been obtained from the ocean, converted into protein, and then fed into aqua feed and pet feed industry. And as our appetite for eating more of this aqua cultured species or pet feed is increasing, we don't have enough fish in the ocean to go and fish more. And when we take 25 million tons of fish, there is a lot of ecological impact, imbalance being created, in the ocean. Either it's illegally fishing, or using improper fishing methods, destroying the reef, all these things, there is a lot of impact being created. There's a lot of ecological damage being created in the oceans, and we need sustainable source of animal protein now than ever. And that's where the insect protein comes. So what this does is it leaves the ocean, it leaves the fish at the ocean. For example, last year we have produced 100 tons of this insect protein and sold it to the aquafeed companies here in India. So we have technically saved 500 tons of live fish at the ocean.
Right.
That's the impact.
So you think fish is higher up in the value chain, so their lives matter more?
I know it's not like that. It is, you're going and destroying the marine ecosystem, which is meant to have a lot of value in general, and you can directly consume that fish for human purposes,
right.
rather than futilely wasting for 70% is futile wasted in terms of fish in fish out concept.
Right, and the insects we can make as many of them we want.
So insects, insects we can make as many as of them. So in 1 acre, let's say, if you compare to agricultural protein production, right now we are moving from fish to the land. So this is produced from agri byproducts. We are not taking any resources away from humans or resources away from any other thing. We take byproducts from industries and convert them into sustainable animal protein. And if you take the certain metrics like per acre, in 1 acre, if you are producing soy or peas for that matter, is one of the highest protein production per acre. Soy or peas or palm oil is for oil. You can produce 10 times more protein and 10 times more oil per acre, and use 100 times less water than agriculture. Right. So this is a new way of creating the modern economy. How efficiently you're producing the same protein, how efficiently you're producing the same oils, how much less water you're using to produce this same protein, less footprint, land footprint, water footprint. So all these things, it's like saving fish at the ocean and then being more efficient in the land.
Right. This can go to my smoothie.
In 2 years, please.
Not before that.
I mean, see, so what I realized, often, when scientists become entrepreneurs, I think one of the biggest fallacy that we fall into is that we have a solution and we think it can create value or earn money. But the hard thing we have learned, unfortunately, that's the first thing we have to learn as a scientists becoming, entrepreneurs. The demand has to come from the market. If there is no demand from the market, no matter how beautiful your solution is, you're not going to, your product is not going to see the day of the light and make some money for you or for the investors.
And it takes time if you're creating a new market, it takes time. I don't know what's the company name. Like there was not enough demand for coffee in Japan, if I'm not confusing with other story, right? So they had to create candies. So kids, while growing up, they eat those candies and build some nostalgic feeling towards coffee. So when that generation reached more adulthood, they started preferring coffee because they had this nostalgic feelings, right? You have to create the market, but as a startup, it's hard to invest with 10-year ROI. I mean, drug companies play on that cycle, but generally, bigger companies can afford like long-term return business. Like, but startups, they want to focus on right when the market is either ready or about to be ready. So you're one of the pioneers. And
yeah, time is money in startups. In startups, time is money. And
you don't want to die.
I just wanted to circle back on what Murali had said. Either you're too early or too late. What do you mean by too early? Too early is that means you fade away. So when you are not able to create a market in time, then you're too early. Right. And then you fade away. That's the most fearful part of especially in the startup, and especially the risk is multiplied in biotech, and we have to be very cautious for that reason. And I learned to be, because I was rather very optimistic and hopeful and everything that you think of a startup founder, and now I'm trying to be more practical. Right. So that's very important.
I think that's a problem with all of us founders, right? We want to do everything under the sun in the beginning because we are very entrepreneurial. One idea gives us 20 ideas. Yeah. But when you start a business, you realize you have to scale it. And to scale it, you have to reduce your focus. You have to scope down, right? You cannot just have 20 different things to work on. You need to focus on one thing that aligns with market needs, figure out how to scale it, and then expand. So that's probably the hardest thing I learned in a very hard way. But that it comes with maturity and experience.
And you have to make sure how you have to be clear in your mind how you are going to make money. Either by solving an unsolvable or giving the customer an ultimate cost advantage with your product. So I think the second one is the most winning stuff in general.
To give customer cost advantage
of what he's doing already.
Right. So what they're doing, it can be cost advantage, or you help them make money.
For example, they're using Fishmeal, which is unsustainable. I can't go and tell them that please use mine. This is more sustainable. Of course, there is a pressure for them to do the right thing, but they will not do it until I offer them my solution cheaper. Right. The sustainability should be a freebie.
Right.
So that's where we are. Right. So your innovation.
Do you know if, animals like it?
Of course, they love it. Of course, they love it because.
How do you know?
Because salmon is a natural insect-eating industry. So insect-eating fish, and it's a $40 billion industry. Right. And a salmon industry has been the first industry to have reformed in terms of sustainability, and now it's coming to shrimp. Shrimp is again a carnivorous. It eats everything. So when we feed our insect ingredients, the time to strike, they say palatability, the time to strike the feed is much faster.
They will not like powder. They will like some crunchy feel. Maybe the other ones say.
Actually, the oil is very good, actually. So, I mean, I have to tell this. The insect oil that we produce is more similar to coconut oil than any other thing.
Nice. I do see like some oil vendors on streets and different railway stations in India. They are not insects, right? They are some weird animals.
No, the reason why I say this is it's 45% lauric acid. Coconut oil also has 45% lauric acid.
Wow.
So it's antibacterial in nature, and that's why we put coconut oil on the skin. That's the reason, right?
When you're ready, let me know. I'm going to use it.
I didn't bring the oil, but actually animals like oil.
You can rub it on your face?
No. I mean, you have to deodorize first. Oh. There is a certain order to it.
Issue.
There's a smell issue. Of course, I mean, if that's what I'm telling. I know it's good for cosmetics, but I don't want to build my company for cosmetics.
Right.
Because that's the difference. And I know it's good for animals because they see the animals strike faster when you have this oil in the feed because the palatability is higher.
Right.
And I'm going to give them cheaper than what the oil they're using.
Right.
So that's how you have to position the market and build the market.
Makes sense.
So if you are going into the premium segment, that is where things started getting wrong for many insect companies internationally.
Right.
So that's one of the reason you see 30% of the companies that have started, that have gotten $1.5 billion into this industry so far globally. 30% of the companies went bankrupt. The reason being either they executed too fast or they built a premium segment for the premium segment.
Right.
So these two things, I mean, learning lessons always, you have to stand on the shoulders of the giants.
Right.
To.
We have to go to Murali and then we can wrap. follow-up. So, Murali, so you run this hybrid business. I would love you to talk more about your CRO business, right? So, when did you start this business, and what type of services you offer? How is it unique? If you can just talk about your CRO business a little bit.
Sure. We actually started our company in 2022,
Okay.
somewhere in June in Genome Valley, which is the hub of biotech companies in India. And of course, it's a growing hub in Asia. As a part of our contract research services, what we do is that we offer like services from concept to the kind of a clinics.
For small molecules or large
It's
molecules?
biologics, large
Biology.
molecules
Okay.
exclusively. Whereas for small molecules, we offer support services. In case of large molecules, we do have capability to synthesize those molecules to produce them recombinantly.
So if companies design protein structures in silico, they can work with you to synthesize them in the lab?
We take these gene sequences,
Right.
and then we express them in the mammalian expression systems
Uh-huh.
or in the bacterial systems.
Uh-huh.
And also, we produce the proteins from this one,
Mm-hmm.
Biotherapeutics. And these biotherapeutics, we test them against their given targets, like how well it is working.
Right.
And while designing these protein sequences or while designing these molecules, we take the in silico approach.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to we express them, we would like to understand like what is that but design three-dimensional structure
Mm-hmm.
is actually able to go and bind to the interest of my receptor.
Right.
We do kind of docking studies
Right.
to see that our protein is able to really dock well
Right.
and shows the greater affinity and resulting in the better efficacy.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things which we try to do in silico.
Right.
Once these aspects have been cleared, we select a few top molecules out of that, and then we start working in the wet laboratory.
And for like binding assays?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We do the binding assays, we do the functional assays. Once we assess are through, then we bring them into the preclinical efficacy studies.
I see. How are your services unique or differentiate from other CROs? Because Hyderabad is known for its CRO market.
I tell you one case study,
Okay.
probably that maybe where in my past for one of the organizations, the client requires to generate a therapeutic monoclonal antibody.
Mm-hmm.
That was the service we were supposed to be given it, and then it was it's a novel antibody, monoclonal antibody which requires to be developed.
Right.
And it was taking really almost like 2.5 years. It was, I think, we were not able to really figure it out an unique antibody that is capable of meeting the client's requirements.
Mm-hmm.
So in this scenario, what we did is that they were kind of adopting some of the classical methods like mouse hybridoma or kind of course, finding a needle in a haystack kind of a thing in fast display libraries. So what we did is that slightly different is that we started working with the B cells directly, which produce the antibodies. And we took the antigen specific B cells
Mm-hmm.
we sorted those B cells,
Mm-hmm.
and then we are able to amplify the antibody genes, and we will quickly able to identify the single chain fragments, which can be ultimately converted into whole monoclonal antibodies, full length monoclonal antibodies. Because of the change of our technology, because of adopting the new technology, we were able to actually generate this antibody within a span of 3 months' time.
Right.
So this is where we are differentiated from others. It's just not that, when we are offering the services, our services, like it's not like you pay the fee, you tell me, I will give you. We take a different approach. Once the contract is given to us, we are actually part of your extended team.
Right.
We keep communication with you constantly, and we make sure that the problems are shared with you, and then we also try to offer our solutions. At the same time, we seek your ideas. how best and how quickly we can deliver your project.
Which makes sense because unlike other traditional CROs, you're also a drug company,
Yes.
right? So you can help them with problem solving too. You can also help them define the scope for the service. It's not like you tell us we will just do the job, right? It's more like we'll work as partners and help you find the solution together, define the project together, and then leverage your team to perform that. Makes sense. I think that's probably your competitive edge in the CRO business because you operate as a drug company at the core of your business.
Absolutely.
Love it. Love it. So because we are sitting in Hyderabad and I'm seeing here like proper dedicated spaces called Genome Valley, and now I'm going to Bangalore. There are many biotech hubs there as well. So how do you see the growth of biotech as the industry in India, the role of local state government, Telangana government, and at the federal level, Modi government? So if you can talk about current initiatives and the trends, patterns you are seeing.
Certainly, the biotech industry is growing exponentially because the Telangana government has created called B-Hub, Biotechnology Hub, where they are building the infrastructure, which many startup companies can come and leverage their facilities, so that we don't have to, every company has to invest in huge sums of money in building and acquiring the equipment required. It's a kind of a fee for service kind of a thing. We just can go over there and sign up for the required instrumentation, and then we complete our activities, and then that's how Telangana government is building these huge structures.
So it's shared equipment.
It's a shared equipment, and every responsibility is taken care of by them, and then we just have to kind of fee for service.
Is it more subsidized than traditional?
It is
biohub.
Exactly. It's just like we go and put our clothes in a laundry and then get back. So we don't have to have the laundry equipment at home. So you put a coin laundry machine and take it. Here also you just go there, use their machinery, the facilities, get your protein or whatever you require it, and then come out. You don't have to invest for the sake of building that.
Love equipment. We need this in every neighborhood now. Like just like in Delhi, there was one initiative called like your neighborhood clinic. I think they call it Mohalla Clinic. I think we need our Mohalla community labs. So you can just go there and make your proteins, insect proteins.
In fact, this kind of the ecosystem is actually helping to have a virtual biotechs.
Right.
In the sense that anybody can have a biotech company. You don't have to have a big infrastructure investments to happen. We can plan everything and generate the required data using the AI tools as well as in silico tools, and then we can outsource these activities, some of them, so that the data, you don't have to be an expert in each and every aspect as long as we are clear on our concept where we want to go in. So we can leverage these facilities and the expertise available,
right?
And then you can develop the products.
It doesn't make sense for every company to build all the departments, right? To build their production, to build their strain engineering, to build their finance department, to build their legal.
Yeah.
So if services can be offered by government, because then it will be more subsidized. So you only focus on your domain of power, your zone of genius, right? You double down on it, and then you leverage all these external resources to bring your science to market faster. No, I'm totally with you. I think the future of biotech is virtual, a solo entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
That's the only way to take biotech to... I think biotech has been historically limited to these big industry partners. But for example, like we use laptop, right? I don't need to know what's in my laptop, the technology behind it, but I'm still using this personal computer. So I do think biotech in a box or more virtual biotech through more accessible labs is the future. If it can happen in 5 years, 10 years, I think we need better policies to determine that. What are your thoughts? Role of government, state level, federal level?
Well, I think we have come a long way in terms of having built this infrastructure. Like for example, Genome Valley is a state policy,
Right.
but there are a lot of central policies of late. Genome Valley has been much ahead of central policies.
Right.
The central policies now were like having these incubation systems, like Startup India, DPIT. DBT, all these departments, stepping in for creating incubators.
Right.
So I mean, like, if you give 10 crores to an incubator, I think it will create 200, 300 jobs.
10
There's a lot
crore
of
meaning
1.5 million, 1.2 million
Okay.
dollars USD. Then so that's what in where we are there. There are 30 companies, 200, 300 people working. All they got is a 1.2 million check from the government. So it has been running successfully for last 6 years. So the value it's being created is phenomenal. In terms of 20-30x for that 1 million had created. I think to my personal knowledge, I think it created at least 50x value already.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of government, I mean that's what government does, right?
Right.
In terms of create foundational structures and then expect people to blossom in it.
Right.
So companies, talent, solutions. That's how economy is being built, and that's exactly in line with how Bharat is being built. One thing, I mean, it's all going great. There are grants, there are schemes, there are infrastructure building. All these things are being. One thing is still missing is collaboration, industry academia collaboration. I think this is a regret that I have while I was studying in India doing in masters, and even today it's the same because I worked in Germany during my PhD. It's 11 country transnational project.
Mm-hmm.
During my PhD, I saw the symphony of such a beautiful 11 countries operating on one project.
Mainly European countries.
European countries. It was a European project, and we published a science paper while doing PhD, and it took us 1 year of work for everybody. Everybody did their best.
Right.
So, and here I think no two labs collaborate or so it's a very,
That's a shame.
it's a something that has to improve. I think government is doing great, but if they can do something on this, now I don't know how or what, but I think this has been also cultural issue. It has been a cultural issue. We in the end of the day, we can do much faster and much greater when we are together. I think that's something I wanted to contribute personally of my personal time to make that happen. If there are some like-minded people looking at this and wanted to.
Yeah, I think they say if you wanna move fast, work alone, which is probably not true in biotech. If you wanna move farther, work together. But I think in biotech, if you wanna move fast, you don't work alone, right? You have to work together because there's so many disciplines involved in no matter what you do, right? Even in your insect, currently you are not genetically manipulating them in any way. But when you start prioritizing it, you will need molecular biologists, strain engineers, right? And computational people.
Yes.
And currently your focus is more on breeding and more go-to-market. So yeah, in biotech, if you want to move fast, don't work alone.
Yeah, I mean, it's chemistry, analytical people,
Right.
Analytical chemistry. There's a lot. I often go to physics department to get my molecules purified in my university. So when I was doing my PhD, I used to work with biomathematicians because part of our project has been systems biology.
Right.
So I mean, I don't speak their language, they don't speak my language, but we had 2 publications together.
Right.
It was a beautiful symphony. That's what I meant.
I love it. But I know we are already over time and I have to run to the airport.
Sure.
And it was a pleasure learning all about the insect science and learning about your work in chronic wound healing and your CRO business. So thank you so much for spending
Thank you, Guru.
2 hours with me.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you
so
for this opportunity also, letting our story out.
Yeah, no, super excited to release the content.
appreciated your
Yeah.
time. Happy to be part of your talk.
Yeah, thank you so much.